evening. My name is George Kaiho from Dallas, Texas. Welcome. Today I'm gonna explain this one. This is called Balcones Texas Rye, 100 proof. All right. All right. Balcones is a whiskey company out of Texas, Waco, Texas, which is about an hour and a half south from Dallas, Texas. About really like in between. It's like right in the middle between Dallas and Austin, Texas. And smaller town, but it's famous for like there's a pretty good university, and it's famous for Dr. Pepper. Yeah, Dr. Pepper was originated in Waco. So as Balcones. So Balcones was founded as a legit whiskey company. Like basically, they make whiskey from scratch back in 2008, and they claim to be the first. There was another company called Garrison Brothers, which make mostly like a bourbon style whiskey. Them and Balcones, they started right about the same time. So I don't think there's like a battle or anything, but both of them basically started out right about the same time. That was the first legit whiskey distillery in Texas. All right, so Balcones, since it's pretty close from Dallas, Texas, one of the representatives, he lives around here. I'm pretty good friends with them, pretty good friends with most of Balcones people. Been there a few times, and each year they make really different launches of stuff, and the one that's really famous is called the Baby Blue. It's I have a baby version of Baby Blue here. Baby Blue. Anyways, Baby Blue is it's right there. It's made from blue corn out of New Mexico instead of like regular corn. That's why it's blue. So that's one of their popular items. And then they got world famous. They got onto whiskey magazines like United States or like outside of United States for their single malts. Yeah, so basically we're the first ones to make single malt whiskey in Texas, and it's very unique. It's very good. I love their single malt. I finished it, so I don't have it at the moment, but they make really good stuff. All right, going back to the Texas Rye, this is a 100% rye whiskey, which is pretty unique for whiskey in general. Like I have another one that's like very high rye content. This is I think this was 95%. 95. Usually, even if it's a rye whiskey, like this one probably don't tell you, but it's kind of rare to do 100% rye. They usually blend other stuff. So that's one thing that's kind of unique. Another thing that's kind of unique is it's coming out from Texas, and they're using Texas wheat, not wheat. I'm sorry, Texas rye, because rye grain is typically like a northern, more colder climate. That's why like the Canadian whiskey is most of them are very high rye content. And whatever neighboring Indiana or whatever like bordering states that's close to Canada tends to have more like rye whiskey rather than corn whiskey or wheat whiskey or single malt barley. So they're doing 100% rye content, and 84% of it comes from Denton, which is like about an hour north from Dallas. And Denton is a town that I used to live when I was in college, I went to, so I spent like about 6 years ish in Denton. So it comes from where I used to live. It's cool. And that's the 84%. The rest, 16%, they import from Germany, and the 16% of it is a mixture of 3 different rye varietals. One of them is roasted, one of them is called crystal rye, and the last one is called chocolate rye. And talking a little bit about beer here, like stouts are beer made from toasted grains like barley or wheat, usually barley, but so by toasting the grains and then incorporating it, it brings up certain different aromas or characters or flavor or whatnot. It's like similar to also similar to a coffee. When you take a coffee bean and you roast it to a certain degree, like light roast, medium roast, or dark roast, or French roast, it has different aromas or bitterness or character, right? So in this case, they're using that kind of method into the whiskey, which I'm sure like they're not the only one that does it, but it's whatever that they are using is a lot of them is incorporated. Like it's like more transparent. That I'm using this. That's why it tastes and smells like this. It's like it really clicks in. All right, let's do a tasting. I did the Japanese version earlier, so I have a little bit of whiskey left. I'm gonna drink it anyway, so it's okay, right? It's kind of darker colored. One thing about whiskey in Texas is because it's hot, right? And then over the year, like right now it's summer, so outside is like 100 degrees, and then winter is dry and cold. It might snow, like, kind of level. So throughout the year, the temperature difference is really big. So basically, it ages quicker. Like that's why they don't really make whiskeys that are 10 years age or like old whiskey. They typically just bottle it because, in their opinion, it's like too much aging in Texas is too much. Too long is too much for them. Pretty intense. It's 50 proof, 100 proof, 50% alcohol. So you do get the alcohol, so you kind of need to be careful how to like smell it. First one that comes off is like a bready nose, which is pretty typical for rye whiskey. Most of them have like a bready character to it, right? The second is the chocolate, and the chocolate is like chocolate that's like not sweet at all, like the cacao, like in raw form, or like powdered. You get that kind of cacao type smell. I get a little bit of like lemon zest, like kind of sharper citrus. All right, let's go ahead and taste it. Pretty strong, intense, kind of lean on the texture. It's not creamy, it's more sharp. And first thing I get is actually was not bready or chocolate, it was more orange. Like on the nose it was lemon. I have more like a sharper citrus, but the mouth is more mild and a little softer. So the citrus character to me changed from lemon to orange. The chocolate and kind of the woodsy bitterness kind of stays with you very pleasantly. Alcohol is pretty strong. It's making my so cold, I'm growing hair in my chest sensation. which, but it's not like it's like, whoa, intense, I need water kind of level. It's still well drinkable, neat. One thing I forgot to mention about Balcones, a lot of their product, like they have another one called True Blue, or their single malt. A lot of them, they bottle it at a pretty high alcohol content. Like some of them are bottled like 65, 68% alcohol, like very high alcohol content. And I once heard the reason was that their reason is like most whiskeys, when they're ready to be bottled, usually they're like that high, like 60 plus alcohol. That's why like some of the single barrel whiskeys are high alcohol like that, like a Booker's or that kind of stuff. And then usually they add water and lower the alcohol content to like 40% or 45% or 50%, and then bottle it. Their philosophy is like the water, you can add it later when you want to drink. You have the choice to adjust the alcohol content by adding more water. They wanted to release it to what they think is good, which is a little high for me, but going back, you can add water, or I can make cocktails with it, so it's just fine. So like, I respect their mentality. All right, that was that. Very, you can just enjoy it. Yes, it has a lot of chocolate flavored, and more like as you drink, but it's, you can just drink it neat. It's no problem, and really there's no fake flavors or anything. It's just everything is just natural. So pretty amazing product. And another good thing is this is relatively not inexpensive. It's about $30, I think, my cost. So it's very easy to use it in cocktails. It's not like the top shelf. So it's a great whiskey to use in cocktails. I'm gonna make a cocktail in about a second, having this as a main ingredient. But you can also, like, say you're making an old fashioned or something with bourbon, and then you can add like a little bit in addition, or you can break the, if you're using 2 ounce, do ounce and a half of bourbon and half an ounce of this. You can like you can split the ratio basically and incorporate this in. You can add another layer, like chocolatey, bready kind of layer to whatever cocktail you're making. So there's like a lot of ways that you can use this whiskey for cocktail. It's great. It's a great product. All right, let's make a cocktail. And the cocktail is called the Concrete Jungle. In Japanese pronunciation, it's pronounced the Concrete Jungle. But sadly, unfortunately, this is not a classic cocktail or anything. I came up with it, and then my owner of the bar named it. I came up with this cocktail 2 years ago. This product launched 2.5 years ago, I think. April, something like that. Almost pretty much exactly 2 years ago. Like it was, I remember it was like August. I entered they had a competition. So I entered it, and this cocktail got into the top 5. Like I went to the final competition at the distillery and competed. I didn't win, but I went to the final. That's pretty good. That's pretty good. I've been there. I almost won. So that's pretty good. All right. So this cocktail is gonna have egg white. So let me get the egg. whiskey. Texas whiskey. Tennessee wine. Alright. This thing and then these two things. Okay. Actually, I have a lot of things. Right, I'm ready. Hey. I'm gonna start with 1.5 ounces of Balcones Texas Rye. Alright. Then 1/2 ounce of this thing. This is called orgeat. It's a fancy almond syrup with other flavors added on. This is homemade. Alright. And then let's see. Benedictine. Benedictine is a very old French herb liqueur made by Benedictine monks. 1/4 ounce of this. It has like a vanilla sweetness to it, which is very cool, and also herbs, of course, herb liqueur, so it has bitterness. And Benedictine goes very well with rye whiskey. One of my personal favorite classic cocktails to make is called Monte Carlo, which basically is like a rye whiskey old fashioned, but the sweetener is this. So pretty simple, like rye whiskey, Benedictine, and like garnish. Very good cocktail, simple. It's good stuff. All right, I'm gonna do lemon juice, 1/4 ounce also. For the reason I'm doing lemon juice, I'm not trying to like add lemony flavor or anything necessarily, but it's kind of important to use some sort of acid when you're making an egg white cocktail. I think it breaks down the egg white, like it makes it more, it helps it frothy, I think. And some sort of acid is always needed in a cocktail because you can't really just do with like booze. You know, you can do it booze, but booze and then adding sweetness. You do need to have some sort of sourness to round up the flavor. It really enhances the good portion of each stuff. All right, and then this is black sesame paste. This is like a big version, but this is 100% black sesame paste. So like imagine like a 100% like peanut butter or like tahini, like no sugar, no nothing added. It's just the pure black sesame puree paste. Right, so 1 spoon. Of that. And egg white. Alright. 1 whole egg white. Done. Alright, so all the stuff is in. I'm gonna use a method called double shake. Basically, whenever you have egg white in your drink, it's hard to mix because for obvious reasons. So what you're gonna do is called the dry shake. Basically, you're gonna shake it without ice, and then you're gonna shake it. Some people say wet shake, which is fine. Basically, dry shake. Try to mix it first, and then you add the ice, and then you're just chilling it, and then adding a little bit of water. Some people do it backwards, but most people do dry shake first, so I'm gonna do that. And I'm using a Boston shaker because usually egg white cocktail, the egg white really wants to come out. It's like really want to come out. So the locking is pretty important. So I'm doing a dry shake. Kind of boring, right? I usually like wipe the bar or put things away, sort things, or maybe talk to somebody, which there's no one to talk to. That kind of stuff. I'm doing a dry shake. All right. I think it's incorporated by now. All right. So dry shake is done. So the cocktail itself is already mixed. I can pour it in and it's all blended together. But now you want to make it cold so it tastes good, and then maybe a little bit of water. But I don't want to add too much water, so I'm gonna shake it not too long. And I want it frothy, so I'm gonna shake it with a very fast motion. All right, for ice. Here you go. Right, done. Use double strain so that I'm not gonna have any ice shards left over, and the mesh also helps the foamy process. Right. Yeah. Alright. Do that later. If you have big bubbles on the surface, you can use like a lighter and then quickly kill the big bubbles like that. You're not like torching it or anything, you just like slide it in and then the big bubbles will disappear, or they'll pop. That's done. Looks pretty cool, right? If it's like, usually my bar's darker when operating. When you order it when it's dark, some people think it's green, but to me it looks gray, like concrete. The garnish will be roasted black sesame on top. All right, and all done. Probably cannot see it, but you'll see the nice picture at the end of the video and with the recipe. Cheers. Nice sesame smell. Very creamy mouthfeel. Very nutty. I get the chocolatiness, and then almond, and also like a orange, because this one has orange blossom water in it. I can feel that. Sesame is not strong, but it's like kind of creamy texture. I think it's helping with the texture and overall nuttiness, because there's like Benedictine has a little bit of nutty flavor. This is almond and this is sesame, so there are a lot of nuts in it. Hopefully you're not allergic to any of them. Overall, like, it's very balanced, and it feels sweet, but it's not sweet at all. It's like complex and great texture and cool color. Right? Got a nice gradation, more black on the bottom and more like white on the top. To me, this is a winner. Alright, thanks for watching the video. If you have requests or what you guys want me to take a video of or stuff like that, please leave a comment and subscribe and that kind of stuff. All that good stuff. And till then, Balcones, thank you so much for making good whiskey. Love your product. Thank you.